Hello, hello, good morning. It's Monica from Life is Art, and it is um, our Saturday 10 a.m. technique at the Let's See New York online crop. I'm just bringing up my video on the side because something looks a little odd here. No, I think it's going okay. Um, there we go. All right. Had to wake up my hubby this morning to help me get started because I couldn't remember all the steps to the new system. We have a new system today because of all the issues we've been having with Facebook. I'm back to my regular camera, but using a bunch of different things that I have to turn on before it starts. And so it takes me a minute to get used to all this technology. Thank goodness for people in our lives that know what they're doing, right? Good morning, Joanne. If you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here. And if you're watching later on replay, you can say replay. So during the month of November, we are featuring the Silver Bells collection. And today I'm doing something a little bit different. If you participated in my catalog launch party on November the 1st, in fact, you can still go back and see everything that happened on that day, then you will remember the Silver Bells card making workshop kit. And I showed how to create, I believe it was project number 3 from that kit. And the one thing that I really like about the kits is quite often they come with really cool die cuts along with the stamp sets. And so when you purchase the card making workshop kits, you get everything that you need to create 16 cards for each of these 4 designs. But beyond that, you can use the stamps and the die cuts to create any kind of cards that you want using those tools. Good morning, everyone who's joining in. I see Deborah's here and Mary's here. Good morning. Good luck at your appointment, Mary. Hey, Robin. And I really like to show you guys how to use those tools once the card kit has been made. So today I'm going to show you a card that I created using some of the die cuts and stamps from the Silver Bells card making workshop kit, and it is completely using cardstock. So, even when we've run out of the pattern paper, even when all our little embellishments are gone, we can still use those lovely tools to create some fabulous things. And so I'm starting out with some candy apple cardstock. Now, candy apple is not a coordinating color with the Silver Bells collection. I'm just adjusting my lights because it looks kind of bright. But it works really well on its own. And since we're not using any of the pattern paper, we can totally go ahead and use it. Hey, Michelle, good morning. I hope you are starting to feel a little bit better. Now, for this card, we're going to be making a gatefold card, and we're going to be making something that I absolutely love. I don't know if you guys have been listening when I've been talking. Sometimes I think I just talk. But I really like windows and doors. And so today we're going to make a gatefold card, and you're going to see how it comes together to look like a door. I think it's such a cool idea. It just takes a sheet of cardstock and you can create such a fun card. So when we're creating a gatefold card, we're going to start out with a piece of candy apple that is 8.5 by 5.5, and we are going to do some scoring. And the basic scoring for this is you're going to score 2 1/8 in from the left side here. So 2 1/8 is halfway between 2 inches and 2 1/4. So I just put my bone folder halfway in between and then just line up my ruler and score. Now, because I don't like math, instead of figuring out the other score line, we are just going to turn our card around and we're going to score at 2 and an 8 again. Now we created a gatefold card, yeah, was it yesterday? Using the same method. So once you learn those two score lines, 2 and an 8 and 2 and an 8, you can make pretty much any gatefold card unless you're doing a different size, and then you have to do some math. So now I'm going to fold those with the bump side to the inside, making sure that I line up top and bottom. And I'm going to turn it around. And now this second one, what I want to do is line it up right in the center. And I can kind of adjust any sort of discrepancies in the scoring, because we're human, and sometimes when we score with a ruler, we don't get things quite where they need to be. And so we can adjust that with doing that second fold a little bit easier. All right. Hey, Lynn and Robin, nice to see you're watching. Good morning, Mom. So we have got our base card now created, our little gatefold, using our candy apple red. And what I'm going to do now is bring in more red cardstock. So we're going to have a bunch of pieces of red cardstock by the time we're done this. And everything now is done in twos. So we're going to have 2 pieces of candy apple cardstock that are 1 7/8 by 3 inches. So 1 7/8 by 3 inches. And then we're going to have 2 pieces of candy apple red cardstock that are 1 7/8 inch square. So 2 and 2. And our width is 1 7/8. The top one is 3 inches, and this one is a square. Then we're going to bring in 2 pieces of candy apple. I'm going to flip them over just for the sake of you seeing the different sizes. But I am going to use all the true color side, which is the front side of the candy apple. So this back side is, this backside piece, we need 2 that are 1 5/8 by 2 3/4. And I'm just going to lay that on there. Hopefully the camera will pick it up. And so we've got 2 that are 1 5/8 by 2 3/4. And these are measurements will all be posted when I post the pictures of my card. And I'm just finding the lighting is really odd in here. I'm not used to what's happening here. I'm also not in the same position I normally am with my camera. And then the last 2 pieces we have are 1 5/8 square. I'm just going to flip it over for now. So hopefully, whoops, the camera will pick up the size difference on those. Okay, so you can already kind of probably see where we're going with these pieces of paper, right? We're going to be doing some layering of cardstock, and we're just going to create the design of our front door. Now I'm going to bring in my black ink for this, and I've got my inking tool. This is the mini ink blending tool. Just going to scooch this over so I can get my ink pad in closer to where I'm working. And what I want to do is I want to ink around the edges of all my little pieces. So I'm going to start out with my 1 5/8 square. Just going to ink all the way around the edges. And you can ink as much or as little as you want on these. And I'm just going all the way around. You could use one of the finger dauber type inkers for this as well. And I'm just trying to remember to flip these ones over. So I've got the true color side of the candy apple. Who doesn't like a bright red door, especially in the Christmas season? It looks so nice with the greenery. Our front door is kind of like a burgundy color, but it's getting a little worn. And so I think probably at some point in the future, we're going to have to repaint our front door, give it a little bit of a facelift. So we're just going to ink all these edges. And what this is going to do is it's going to create some shadow, some definition to all these pieces, make them stand out more. Because if I just put red cardstock onto red cardstock, yeah, of course, if you kind of move it around, you can see, but it's so much nicer when it's a little more defined, right? Good morning, Brenda. Yes, you definitely, that's a good tip, Michelle. Do not use a blending brush for the edges. You want to use a foamy type thing. Blending brushes are fabulous for stenciling, for adding a soft little glow of color, but for doing these edges, you definitely want something that's stiffer, and it just creates a nicer edge. The blending brushes tend to just put a soft glow about halfway across your page. Now I'm doing the front of the card as well. I just closed up the gatefold, and I'm going to go all the way around the outer edge of the card, like so. And then I'm also going to do the front, the edge of these gatefold pieces, so that we have some definition down the middle. Yes, red and green, so typically Christmas, right, Robin? Michelle's like, guess how I learned not to use a blending brush? Yep, same way I learned, because I did it once I was desperate because I didn't have the proper tool for the job, and I tried the blending brush, and it doesn't give you that sharp edge at all. It just kind of puts a lot of soft ink too far into the page. And it's probably not even that great for your blending brush to be kind of shoving it on the edge of the paper. I don't know. It's hard to say. But now that we've got all that inking done, we can go ahead and start stacking. So let me just kind of put things back in order here. We're going to need to add some adhesive. I could use liquid adhesive for this. I tend to avoid liquid adhesive sometimes, because depending on the kind of adhesive you have, it can sort of warp your card front, and this stuff just goes on nicely and keeps everything nice and straight. So we're going to stick some adhesive on the back of all of these pieces. We're just flipping them all over. Now that we've got the inking on there, it's easy to figure out which is the front and which is the back. It looks like I'm building a brick wall right now. Alrighty, got that all on there. And I like to use, let's see if we can kind of consolidate a bit here. I like to use my piercing tool to lift the backings off. And that way I'm not bending my cardstock trying to grab the edge. And then we're just going to center them in the center of all of these. So smaller on top of larger, makes sense. Like building a layer cake, but a very flat layer cake. If this was a layer cake, you would say, boy, your baking powders need some refreshing. So there we go. We've got the 2 squares done. Hey, Heather, nice to see you're watching. And we're going to add our rectangles together. This is surprisingly a quick card. The thing that takes the time is just cutting the paper in the beginning. And even that's not hard because you're just cutting rectangles. I took the adhesive off of the wrong piece. Did you see that? I did the big one instead of the little one. When you do that, that means that's the first one that's going to go on the card, and you're going to stick this on up in the air. Either that, or some people use their all-purpose mat. They'll stick things down to their all-purpose mat because the adhesive will just kind of lift back off of it. Okay, so let's come over to our card, and I'm going to turn it sideways. This is the top of my card over here. So this large panel is going to be centered at the top, trying to leave equal distance between the top and the 2 sides, just like that. Then let's come around to this side, and we'll add the other rectangle at the top. I always find it's easier for me, actually, maybe I'll continue this way. It's easier for me to kind of always line things up from the left. And I'm also looking at the one I've already stuck down, hoping to keep them as even as possible. So there's the top of our door created. Joanna, I have to come back later. Have fun being the chauffeur. I hope your cosplayer has fun at Geek Fest. That sounds exciting. I know my husband and son went one time to FanCon here in Toronto, and they had lots of fun checking out all the geeky nerdy things. My son even got his picture taken and an autograph from the lady who plays Pinkie Pie in My Little Pony, because he's a brony. And let's line up this last one at the bottom. Now you will notice that there is a gap in sorry, I'm used to my camera being a little bit farther that way. We've been all over the place this weekend. So you notice this gap in the center. That's because we have a doorknob, and the doorknob needs a place to sit. So we're going to leave that nice little gap in the center there. And then from the Silver Bells card making workshop stamp and die set, I decided to use the bow and the two little sprigs of greenery to create a nice little festive arrangement on my doors. And this is where I departed a little bit from just cardstock, and that is I brought in some gold glitter paper to cut out my bows because, you know, why not? And then I used some Evergreen to cut out, actually, maybe I'll just bring them over on the piece of paper they're sitting on because you'll be able to see it. I cut out some of the little greeneries. So there's a single little stem, and then there's this one that's sort of a twofer stem. So I cut out 3 of each, and that way we're doing a lot of symmetry here, but if my greenery is a little bit different, it kind of breaks up the symmetry, and sometimes that adds more interest. Now I'm going, actually, before I do that, I need my pencil, and I need to determine where my bow is going to go, okay? So I'm going to say that I would like my bow right about there on my door. So I'm just going to shove it a smidgen up and make a little mark with my pencil right where the knot of the bow is. And let's put this back. And then we're going to line up the other bow on the other side so that they are about the same height, you know, because as much as we try to hang picture frames and things the same height, we want our bows on our doors to line up too when we're decorating for the festivity seasons. And so that's going to give us a guide for where to attach our evergreen. Now, you know me, I like doing my little trick with a little bit of liquid glue on my hand, just in this spot, which never ends up getting stuck in anything. And then I'm going to use my tweezers to help me with this and just grab onto here. And all I really need to attach is just the stemmy bit of this. So I'm just going to tap it in the glue, try not to get too much, and then I can go ahead and stick that greenery right on there with my stem kind of half on that mark that I made. And then I'm going to grab one of the single little branches, and I'm going to stack that right on top like that. We're going to build up a layer. Let's grab a second one here. Just tap the little stem, and we're making like a little swag cluster, just like that. Then the last thing we need to do is grab our little bow and just add some glue in the center on that knot. A little bit will also get on the bows themselves, and then just push that down in. And I like that we've only glued just that little bit, because then the bow can kind of stick out And the greenery can kind of stick out, and that gives it some dimension. All right, let's do our other side. So now we've got our little greenery, and let's stick that down a little bit off to the side maybe. Oh, let's move it up a little bit like that. And then let's add another bit of greenery. We got the two doubles here just for some variation, like so. And then a single one. Tap, tap, tap. If you run out of glue on your hand, all you got to do is squeeze some more glue in there. But I think I have just enough to get our bow on there. Tap, tap, tap. And you just want to make sure that you're kind of lining it up as evenly with the other one as you can. Isn't that so sweet? Oh my goodness, I love that. And I think it's so important that when you have tools like this that you purchase, that you come up with ways of using them beyond just what's in the kit. So you have to kind of use your imagination and think about what kinds of things you can do with it, right? You're going to your first Christmas market today. That's awesome, Robin. So exciting. Um, it's always fun when the festive seasons start, right? And you get to see all the things that are going on and different events. So I've got the Silver Bells dots here, and I'm going to use the silver ones for my doorknobs. And let me just grab my piercing tool. I want to use the largest ones because these are doorknobs. We want them to have some presence. So we're just going to aim for the center of that gap, and we want the edge of our dot to kind of line up with the edge of the first bit of the raised panel on the door. And with the piercing tool, you have that ability to kind of move it around and see where it's landing before you stick it down. Whereas with my fingers holding it, I would not be able to see one thing at all. And then now we've got our lovely doors, we've got our doorknobs, we can open it up now. And in the center, we need a spot to write our message. So let's bring in that piece of white paper I had here on the side. And we're going to just stamp up with a message on the inside. You'll notice we didn't put any sentiment on the outside, and I think that's okay given the design of the card. And I'm going to use candy apple to stamp out the sentiment. May the wonder of the season be with you always. And I think that's kind of nice because if you were going out somebody's door, you would want to say something to them about, have a great day, Merry Christmas, that kind of thing. And I think having the wonder of the season with you always is a nice little sentiment that kind of goes with that, a greeting as you're going out the door. And then I'm also going to bring in pine. Now the little boughs of the greenery here, I don't know if I told you, those were evergreen. How thematic is that? Those were done with evergreen, but I don't have evergreen ink. So on the inside, I'm going to use pine, and I'm going to use this little couple sprigs of holly, making sure I don't pick up any extra ink on here, just to add a little bit of decoration on the corners of my sentiment, like that. Oop, a little off, but that's okay. If we weren't a little off, people would wonder what's wrong. So there we go. We've got our nice little sentiment inside. Still lots of place to write our message. If we need more, we can also add some white cardstock on either side on those backs of the doors. You could also decorate the backs of the doors to look like the panels if you wanted to. I'm going to leave mine just plain, just flat. You could also add pattern paper in there. So many wonderful things that could be done. We're just going to center this. This piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 so that we have that nice little edge of red all the way around. There we go. May the wonder of the season be with you always. And then our front with the lovely panel doors and bows and evergreen sprigs and those fun sparkly doorknobs on there. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this magic of cardstock card come together, creating this cute little door. And of course, it'll stand up nicely as well because it's a gatefold. And you'll just get that little peek of the sentiment inside. And so if you create a card like this, I would love to see it. So take a photo of it and pop it in the comments, and then we can all see what you created. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, and we will be on at 11:30 for Chat and Craft. We'll see you then. Toodaloo. Bye.